Hello, everyone, and welcome to another webinar from Exadel about what we're up to. And the main thing we're up to right now is, at least in the customer-facing world, is what used to be called Tigger, and now, as you can see, we're calling Tiggzi. It's part of a rebranding because we feel like we've, after all, a lot of experience with improving the Tigger over time and expanding what kind of things it can do. It's time to commemorate that with a name change and a new logo, but it's not too different from the old logo. So the name of this is has a simple title: Learn how to build mobile apps in the cloud with a lot of different technologies. We'll also touch on some of the new features as part of describing what Tiggzi does right now. We'll also describe some of the features, the new features that are in Tiggzi. So here we go. Your main speaker will be Max Katz. He's responsible for developer relations for Tiggzi. You can see the contact info, the email, Twitter, and his blog. And my name's Charlie Cowens. I'll sort of come in at the beginning and the end. And my function here is I'm basically a marketing manager. I do whatever support activities are required. I also do the main Exadel blog and the main Exadel Twitter. All right, just a little quick one slide about Exadel. We're a global software engineering company. We were founded in 1998, headquartered in the San Francisco Bay Area, actually in Concord, out on 680. We have 7 development offices in Europe and 400+ employees. What we do is 2 things. We do a lot of professional services, consulting. But out of that experience, we try and spin off products that are based on our experience with helping people in custom projects to try and come up with solutions that can help even more people at once, like Tiggzi. So our plan for today is pretty simple. We got a new name. We'll have to say that again. And then Max will walk you through the basic outlines of Tiggzi and highlight any of the new features that we have. And then very quickly, Max will spend most of the time just building an app so you can see how it works, because that's really what this is about people building apps very quickly and very effectively. At the end, we'll have a Q&A period. Anytime during this webinar, you can always post questions. You should be able to see a questions panel in the lower right corner. And so you can post questions ahead of time, or you can wait till the end. And then afterwards, one thing to keep in mind is that this whole thing is being recorded, and the recording will be available after, pretty quickly afterwards. And it's pretty easy to access. We'll receive an email telling you about it, but you can always just re-log in as if you were trying to enter the webinar, and instead of sending you into the webinar, it'll just send you to the recording. So anyway, enough from me. I'll be back when we do our Q&A period, and I'm just going to turn it over to Max now. Do you have anything else to add to the agenda?
No, thank you, Charlie, and welcome, everyone. So as Charlie said, the plan is pretty simple. We briefly mentioned our name change, our branding change, then tell you about Tiggzi. I'm actually going to build an app for you, a real app, which you guys, I'll share with you, and you can try. And if you watched our previous webinars, it's not going to be a Twitter search app. It's going to be something different. And then we'll go into Q&A. All right. So again, this is our new name, Tiggzi. So the site is tiggzi.com. And of course, all the old links will also work. The GoTigger and so on. And we're slowly moving all the social media sites that we have, Facebook, Twitter, and so on, to the Tiggzi name. So it's going to take a couple of weeks to do that. But again, hopefully you like it. I think we got a pretty cool name and a pretty cool logo. All right. So Tiggzi basically is a cloud-based mobile app builder where you can build HTML5 and hybrid mobile apps. And so, why? The reason is very simple. Is it's a super fast way to build mobile apps and extremely easy. A very basic app. You can really build it in under 20 minutes, which is, I think, amazing. All right, so there are a few things you need to know about Tiggzi. So the very first one is you build the UI with jQueryMobile, HTML5, and JavaScript inside a visual editor. You can see on the left-hand side there are components, and you can drag and drop components into the screen. So that's the first thing. Second is that you can consume, connect, or use any REST API that's available in the cloud. And there's so many companies today that expose REST API. Obviously, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. In our example today, I'm going to use SoundCloud. But there are really thousands of companies that expose REST API, which you can again very easily consume in Tiggzi. Right. Next is you use HTML events, for example, on click or on page load and so on. Just the standard HTML events to invoke various actions. Right. So, for example, if you click a button and would like to invoke a service, you can easily do that. If you want to run some custom JavaScript, you can also do it. And the custom JavaScript can be anything. You can write it yourself right on the spot. You can load some other library into your app. So there are a lot of different options. You can use local storage. Again, very flexible, very powerful. You can also, of course, use PhoneGap API, which gives you access to the device, native device features. And I'm going to mention it a little bit later. Next is, as you're building the app, you can test the app instantly in the browser. And this is a really unique feature, is that the moment you drop a single component onto the screen, you can already test it, right? Now, and you're testing the actual app. So it's the actual app running in the browser. And what I'll do is I'll actually do the same, and I'll share the app with you. So I'll make it look public, and you guys will be able to actually, to try it. Now, if you're using any native features, then of course testing in the browser is not going to be possible. That's why we also have a native app. It's a tester app, which allows you to test your native features. So if you add any, for example, if you use geolocation or contact or GPS, again, you won't be able to test in the browser. So you can you see a list of all your apps. Again, it's a native app. You simply tap on the app on your phone, and it will launch the native app. And that makes it really, really easy to test the native features. So there's nothing to install each time, to update. You make a change, you save, you click the app or tap the app on your phone, and it will launch the native or the hybrid app for you. Again, very simple and very fast. The next is once you're done with the app, you can export the app, or you can also build the app. For example, for Android, where it says release binary, the very last column is that file is ready for the apps market. So from downloading this file, you're about 5 minutes away from publishing the app. Now, the 5 minutes being you have to upload a few screenshots, you have to enter a description, and you have to wait a little bit. Sometimes it takes a few minutes for the Android market for you to publish your app. So again, it's really amazing. I mean, you just click the button, download the app, upload it, and you're ready. For iOS, the current version, you can download the source code and then build in the Apple development tools. But we're also working on making it so you can actually build the app also right here. But of course, that will require entering your developer information. So there are a few more steps with iOS compared to Android. And of course, you can also export as just a mobile web app. Obviously, that's also an option. And we are also working on adding Windows Phone support and also BlackBerry support. So you'll be able to export as well. So again, you can easily build the app, and you can also export the source code. You also see there is Eclipse project, for example, Xcode project. So again, you get the source code, and obviously you own the app. So if you would like, you can also continue developing the app outside of Tiggzi. Now, and they want to have control. So that's also available. Native features. As I mentioned, you can build HTML5 mobile apps, or you also can build hybrid or native apps as well. And so on the left-hand side, you see they are, we actually have device components. We have camera, barcode scanner, contact, and geolocation. So we use PhoneGap. PhoneGap is an extremely popular framework, HTML5 framework, that gives you access to various device features. So every mobile app in Tiggzi comes pre-configured, pre-installed with PhoneGap, so there's nothing really for you to do. And again, if you're building, if your goal is to just place the app in the app market, then you don't want to use any native features, specifically, then you can just you get a hybrid app and you put it in the app market, and you can charge for it, or it's going to be easier to find the app. But of course, it's not the only reason. You also might want to be able to access various device features. So you can use PhoneGap API, but if you saw in our device palette, we're slowly adding components. But obviously, these components are based on PhoneGap API, but we're making it even simpler. So the user, or you as a developer, you don't need to worry about what the API is and so on. You got a component that provides all this functionality out of the box. And so we're going to be adding more and more components so we can cover everything that PhoneGap provides. But again, you can easily invoke PhoneGap API directly, and it just works without any problems. All right, there's also a social aspect to this mobile development, so I'm pretty sure most of you are familiar with Google Docs, where you can invite other folks to edit the document, to collaborate with you at the same time, or also not at the same time. So we have something similar in Tiggzi, where you can invite other developers or whoever to collaborate on building the app with you at the same time. But of course, it can be a different time. So that's very useful if you have remote teams, which is very, very common today. Another important thing is customizing the UI. So we obviously understand that customizing the UI or making the UI sexy is very important. So we have a visual theme editor where you can customize the UI and really kind of create exactly what you would like to see. All right. I'm going to come back to this, but for now, what I want to do is I'm going to actually build an app for you, right? A real mobile app, and then we're going to continue the rest of the slides here. All right, so I'm going to give you guys a second for the screen to update, but I opened the apps screen where all the apps are. And also, again, if you use Tiggzi, or back was then Tigger before, again, this screen also has been changed. So we do have a new design, and we obviously would like to hear your feedback. Make it easier to use, better. All right, hopefully everyone can see the screen now. So again, I'm going to create a new app, and the app that I'm going to build is going to be a SoundCloud app. So SoundCloud is a service where people can upload their music, and so we're going to use SoundCloud API, and we're going to search for an artist, and we're going to get all the tracks for that particular artist, and then we can also launch the music player and listen to a particular track. So again, pretty cool app. Okay. So to start, I'm going to create a new app. I'm going to click Start Now. All right. So we've got this also updated wizard, which makes it hopefully a little bit easier. So we've got a mobile app. We also have a mobile web. So the difference here is that mobile web is just HTML5, and the mobile app is, of course, it's HTML5, but you also get access to native components. So we're going to go right here. You can also then select a template on which you want to base the app. So there are some existing apps with existing functionality already, but we're going to go with the blank mobile app and going to click Next. finally, you just give it the app name. So right, and we're going to click create. All right, so it's going to take a few seconds here for the actual builder to load. Almost there. All right. So hopefully everyone can see the screen now. But I've got, again, the builder loaded, and it's going to wait a second here. All right. So hopefully everyone can now see the screen. So you got the phone in the middle, the phone screen in the middle, and you got components. So again, the first thing you do is, again, you build the UI. Okay. So let's change the header here first. So this is going to be SoundCloud, all right? And let's get an input component. So again, the way you build these is drag and drop components, so it's extremely simple. This input is just a default label. I'm actually going to delete it. And I'm actually going to head to properties, and I'm actually going to set artist name. So this is, I'm actually going to make this a placeholder. This is an HTML5 feature. So kind of a prompt. All right. Next, I'm going to get a grid component, and it's useful for layout. So drag and drop a grid component. And now into the second column, I'm going to place a button. Like this. I'm going to rename the button to Get Music, for example. And I can also put a little icon so it looks like this. All right. And I can make this a little bit smaller. All right. Now, as I mentioned earlier, again, the moment you put a single component into the screen, you can already test it. Okay, and it's one of the most powerful and unique features in Tiggzi, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. There is a big test button. All right, and in just a few seconds, you guys should load the screen, the actual app. So again, what you guys are seeing, this is the actual, real app. This is not a screenshot or anything like that. Now, so by default, this URL is private, but I'm going to share it with you, and I'm going to copy and paste it into the GoToWebinar, so it's easier for you guys to open it. But of course, you also can easily test it on your device. So there is a QR code which I'm going to open, and you'll be able to. So first of all, I'm going to make it public. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to put a link into GoToWebinar. I'm going to click Send, all right? And what I'm actually going to do now is, if you guys want to scan, if you have a QR code scanner on your device, so please scan this upper QR code, all right? So you can scan, you can click on the link, and you can, of course, also just type in the URL. All right, so I'm going to give you a few seconds just to make sure that you, hopefully maybe someone can type in the chat, and you guys are able to see it. Or a question, just type as a question. All right, very good. So I see some people got it. Very good. So I'm going to continue, or I guess let me just keep it here for just a few more seconds for folks to scan. Sorry. All right, very good. So again, if you didn't get a chance to scan, you can just use the URL in the chat window. All right. So let's continue. So this is for the input, and now let's also add the part where we want to display the output. So we're going to scroll down right here. We're going to use a list component. So drag and drop a list component. We're actually going to reduce the number of items because it's actually going to be coming from a service. So we just need one, and it's going to be kind of we'll iterate over it. Oops, sorry. we go. And I also, we can do something like this. All right. Now I'm going to delete this label, default label, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put a grid component right inside. All right. And what I can do, I'm going to place a label component. So this is going to show the album name, and then another label. This is going to be, I'm going to put it outside the grid. So this is going to be used this is going to contain the URL of the stream, so we can pass it to the player. All right, so it's going to look like this. Now, what I'm also going to do, because this link, this field is not going to be visible, at least to the user. We actually don't want to show it, and I'm actually going to make it not visible. And again, I'm going to work on it a little bit later, so you'll see how it all fits together. All right. So we got a label. Now we can test the app. All right. And so it should look something like this. And we can also play with the look and feel a little bit, so we can maybe change the theme to gray. So there are a number of out-of-the-box themes you can use. We can also change the header to black, and then we can also change this button to black as well, and we can get rid of the footer. All right, so just think this looks a little bit better. This sort of. All right. So this is the UI. So again, you can build. Obviously you can create multiple screens as well, and you can create navigation between screens. So even if all we had was just this step, just to build in the UI, this is already a lot, because you can build the actual UI for your app, right? And you can see, you can test the app, and I can share the app. So it's already quite a lot. Now, but of course, we want to do more. We want to be able to connect to a service, and that's what we're going to do next. So I'm going to open the services palette, and I'm going to drag and drop a service onto the screen like this. Now, it's asking me if I would like to select a service. I don't have a service yet, so I'm actually going to click Add New, and it takes me to the service editor. So let's change the name here. All right. And so this is, the URL is obviously one of the most important parts. And so this is the URL. So now, because I'm actually going to be sending the actual artist name will be entered as input. So I need to actually create a variable here. So artist name. Now the name can be anything, but I just use the artist name and then track the JSON. All right. So this is the URL, and I'm also going to use Tigger proxy, and this is going to help me with cross-domain issues when I'm sending an AJAX request. All right. So again, this is the URL, and again, this is exactly where you can really consume any REST API out there. Again, any service, anything that has a REST API, you can use here. There are a lot of backend services, for example, StockMob, Parse, and Cloudy, React. They all provide mobile backend. Amazon also has a database that you can connect to the REST API. So again, really anything with a REST API you can use here, which is again pretty powerful. All right, so this is for defining the service URL. The next thing we want to do is we want to define the request parameters. So every service usually has input and of course output. The first thing we want to do is the actual artist name. All right, so this is the artist name. Click Add. Now, and the other thing is that the cloud SoundCloud API requires the client ID to be sent. So I went to soundcloud.com and I registered to use their API, and they gave me client ID. So if you guys use the same, you'll register and you get your own client ID. So the actual param name is client ID, Now, I don't want to type it, but so I'm going to actually, here, I have it right here. I'm going to do copy and paste. All right, so it's like this. Here we go. This is the client ID. Right, and what I can do right here, actually, I can test the app. There's a test button, okay, and I can test by entering an artist's name. So there is one artist that I found. This is the name. Of course, you can use any artist. Now, the thing to keep in mind, if you do use this app, it's not just a search, it's an actual artist's name. So you need to kind of go to SoundCloud and see what the artist's name is. All right, I'm going to click test. Artist, let's see. Something, yes.
Okay, somebody point out that you have a typo in the SoundCloud URL.
Let's see, thank you. Well, we'll try it. Cloud, yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll try this again. Hey, but you guys can see this is real stuff. All right. So this is much better. So again, thank you who noticed that. So again, this is the response. So this is sort of indicates. So you can see. I mean, this is sort of actually, I guess, turned out to be a good thing. You run the service, you see it doesn't work, and you fix it, and now it works. So the next step, this is for the input parameters, and then of course the next step would be to define the output parameters. But looking at this response, you can see there's a lot of stuff. So I wouldn't want to do this all by hand. But luckily, there is a feature to create the service response automatically. And so I'm going to click this button, okay, and I'm going to click close, and it takes me automatically to the response parameters. And you can see this is all I get from this service. All right, so again, typing this by hand will be 2 times consuming. All right, so I got the output, I got the input, I got the correct URL, and so we can save, and we can close. All right, so we're back here. So you can see the service is shown. This is the service on the screen. And so next what I'm going to do is I'm going to map the UI to the service, and then the service response back to the UI. All right, so you can see there is input parameters. I'm going to click change. And so these are the 2 params that the service requires. So the client ID is preset, so I don't need to change it. Now for the artist name, I want to get the value from the input field. And so for that, I'm going to use this component, mobile text input 1. Probably in a real app, and if you have more inputs, you want to rename the component, so it's not called mobile input text 1, because if you have multiple, it's going to be just 1, 2, and 3. So it might be kind of difficult to see which one you're using. But in my case, I have only 1. So, all right. So this is for the input. So I'm going to click save. And then the other thing is for the output. Right? So this is what we get for the output. So this is the collection of all the tracks that I get. And first I'm going to map it to the list. We've got a list component, so we're sort of going to iterate and create multiple list items. All right? And I'm going to actually map 2 things here. First is the title. So I see the title right here. So we got title. This is the first label. And then the other thing I want to map is the stream URL. And so the stream URL I'm going to actually map into that label, which is hidden. All right? Because again, we don't necessarily want to show it to the end user, or when we click, we want to be able to use it. So this is the second label. And again, it's hidden, but it's in the page. All right? So again, we're just stating the title and the stream URL. Obviously, you can also map any of these properties. Also, just to mention, you can see there is a JavaScript, and actually you also had the JavaScript on the input side. So you can write JavaScript for this mapping. So before the value is basically rendered into the screen, you can run a custom JavaScript and do something. So that's another point where you get sort of flexibility and extra sort of power. All right, so let's click save. All right, we got the service on the page. We got the mapping. The last thing before running it, we want to, when we click this button, we would like to invoke the service. Okay, so we're going to go to Events. We're going to click add a click event, right? And of course, you can use any other HTML event. All right, and then I will select. You can see all the actions you can run. So there is local storage, which I'm going to use it in a second. And there is also invoke service, so this is the one I want. All right. All right. So we're actually ready to test. Let's click the test button. Okay, and entering the same name. All right. And here we go. We get a result. You guys can try the same thing. I'll wait for you guys to try. Again, if you enter DevHead, you'll get this stuff. I mean, you can try other, but again, it has to be an artist name. It's not just searching for any music. Okay. All right. So hopefully it's working for you. But I mean, it really should, because if it's working for me, it should be also working for you. All right. Now, but of course, we also want to be able to click, right? And we want to be able to play. So let's do that. That's why we save the actual truck URL. Okay. So we want to be able to click on item list and open the player. So for that, we're going to define the click event on the list item. Okay. And we're going to do a couple of things. First, we're going to actually we need to sort of know on which item we're clicking, because each item is going to have a different URL. So on the click, we're going to save the item, the stream URL, into local storage, right? We're going to use the browser local storage. And we're going to define a variable. So this is local is LOC is for local, and we're also going to bind it to a component. So the component which holds the URL in this case is mobile label 2. That's the hidden label. Okay? And corporate. So again, I'm defining a local storage URL. I'm sorry, variable. And then I'm essentially binding it to a component. So I don't need to do anything extra. Say, hey, take the value from this component. All right? I'm going to click OK. All right? Next, I actually want to use this URL and open another screen, for example, another window, and play. So then it's going to look like this. I'm actually going to run custom JavaScript. So of course, I can have multiple events or actions. All right. And first, I have to read the value. I have to read the local value. So it's going to look like this. So local storage, get item, and so the value, the name is all right. So something like this. And second, I want to actually open a window and play. So first we get the URL, plus we also, again, have to send our client ID. This is just how this works. So client ID equals, and I think I should do copy. Here we go. So this is my client ID. All right. I think it looks right. All right. So we are ready to test again. So we're going to click test. All right, entering the same. All right, and clicking on. So let's see if you guys can hear the music. Soundtrack. But you guys should be able to try the same thing on your end as well. Sorry, let's I guess let's try it one more time. Click request. We'll just look for. One more. A little bit better. All right. So again, if it's working here, it should be working for you. So I guess I'm going to turn this off before Charlie starts dancing. All right. So this is the app. Now, again, you can, of course, build a lot more. The last step, once you're happy with the app, again, the export step is right here. So you can see you can export as just a mobile web HTML app. You can get the source code, and you can also get the Android binary. So, all right. A few other things I want to show you is the device palette. You can see these are the components that we have. Again, so these are sort of kind of abstract wrappers, which make it much simpler to work with the device directly. But they're again based on PhoneGap, and we're going to be adding more and more components. All right. And as for the mobile, so these are pretty sort of standard components, and then there's also a Google Map component if you want to use. Just to give you an example, I can go to project. I can create a second screen just to give you an idea how it looks. All right, and go to palette, and then here we go. Okay, so very simple and very easy. So you can, and now if you combine with geolocation, you can actually determine your location, for example, and then pass the information to the map, and then update the map with your location. Okay, so it's pretty neat, and again, very easy. And we do have actually a tutorial that does exactly that. All right. So this is for the app. Again, what I'm going to do is actually I'll post this on. I'll post the link on my blog so you guys can check it out. But again, this is a real mobile app that you can people can use and so on. All right. Let's go back to slide deck. All right, this is where we stop. So also another new thing that we have is, in addition to the change name, we also launched our first vertical, and it's 6 different positions. So this is the URL. You guys can try it, but the big difference is that when I created a new app, I ended up in the visual editor, or the event editor right away. So the approach here is slightly different. That as you start, you actually run through a wizard, and there are a number of steps, and every step will ask you something else. So you first select what screens do you want, and of course, based on the screens you selected, do you want a Twitter screen, do you want a Facebook calendar, or something else? It will run through a wizard, and you basically fill in information for those pages. So it's even an easier way to build apps. This is the first one in targeting musicians, but again, we have also planned to target other verticals.
Right, and right now we're at the National Association of Music Manufacturers Conference down in Anaheim, where we have some people from Exadel showcasing Tiggzi for musicians in particular. And this will be the subject of a future webinar.
Yes. So we'll do a webinar in the next couple of weeks.
So we let it go.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. But again, the major difference is that you run through a wizard, and you don't have to go into the visual editor. So again, a much simpler way to build an app, and I mean this particular one is targeting musicians. All right. Now, another new thing is an exciting thing is new pricing. So you can see we do now have a free plan, and I know that was requested for a long time, but a large number of users. So we now have a free plan. You can build one app and really try it out. And we hope you like it. And if you need more apps and more screens, you can always buy the standard or the professional plan. But again, free. You try it. I think it's awesome.
And can I chime in quickly at we have a professional plan right now that's at $45 a month, and I checked that people, if you already are a professional user, you're grandfathered in at that rate. We won't start charging you $50 a month suddenly. So that's a minor detail.
All right. just to summarize what you saw, I mean, this sort of shows you the big picture of the platform. So we've got the Tiggzi, which is, again, the cloud-based mobile app builder. But what's important is that underneath is just all sort of standard and open source technologies. I mean, we use jQueryMobile, HTML5, JavaScript to let you build a mobile web app. And of course, if you want to go native or hybrid, there is also PhoneGap. So this is sort of the entire platform. You've got cloud-based builder on top of these sort of standard technologies. So there's nothing proprietary or closed in this app. Again, once you export the app, it's all yours. It's all HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. Right? So this is the URL, Tiggzi.com. Sign up today. Again, nothing to, no credit card, nothing. Sign up for the free plan. Give it a try. So again, this is the URL. So these are a number of different ways you can get a hold of us. So some of them still point to the old URL, but again, as I mentioned, the old URL will continue working, and we're slowly going to be kind of updating the next couple of weeks. So everything is Tiggzi.com.
So the main things are the Twitter and the Facebook, which are complicated. So, but they'll switch over.
Yeah, we'll switch them. We're working on that. But of course, we just don't want to lose all the followers once we do that. And having said that, we can go into Q&A.
Well, this is Charlie again, Charlie Collins. I just want to point out, too, that at the bottom, that's an important thing, is Max's email address. He's very open to questions from people. If something occurs to you after this, Max loves to talk about Tiggzi, so don't be shy about just sending a message. Or you can just tweet Go Tigger or Max's own Twitter. So I'm going to have to go through from the back. I think it might have been easier if I just interrupted you for some of these. If I need clarification, I'll just shout out the first name of the person. First of all, someone was trying to type Lady Gaga into the, is there a problem into the search, the app that you've created for SoundCloud? Does it require, is there some special character for the space that you have to put in? Or?
No, I don't think there's a problem, but you need to go and check if there is actually Lady Gaga artist in SoundCloud. So again, it's an actual registered name. So if you search for Lady Gaga, it means that she has to be registered in SoundCloud, and I'm not sure if she is there. But again, the way I did it is that you go to SoundCloud.com and you search, and you can see the artist names, and so you can use those.
All right. Here's a question about the oh, someone wants the QR code up again. Do you have the app running?
Yeah, of course. Let me get the.
All right, we'll take care of that person and then start going through. And here's a question. Can you please refer to a different tablet app? Can you please refer to security? Oh, someone wants you to talk in general about security capabilities in the app.
Security. Well, I'm going to, I guess, take a guess here and assume talking about service security. So we have some support already. Actually, in fact, we're working right now on much more general support for, so we can support various different security mechanisms for authenticating REST against REST API.
Okay.
So we're working on it right now, and probably in about 2 weeks we should have the security component updated.
Great. And then here, I'm rolling back to the beginning instead of working back to the end. There's someone who asked about adding their own JavaScript library. Is it pretty much extensible for?
Yeah, it's actually adding JavaScript library is very simple. So, well, I'm going to come back to this in a second, but there are a couple of ways to do it. So there's a project profile option, and there are external resources. So actually, you can load the URL if it's somewhere on the internet. You can load the URL right here. Another option is to create a JavaScript file, and this is done like this. And so you can actually do a blank file. You can create from the URL. You can upload the file.
Oh.
So there are many different ways to do it. And of course, you can also, like I did with the run custom JavaScript, if it's just a few lines of code, you can just write the actual code. So yeah, a number of options to do that.
Yeah, we try and make our design philosophies, we try and make it as simple as possible, but we allow you to make it as complicated as you want to. I mean, there's still ways we can make it even more complicated, and that's what we're working on. But the basic, the choice is just do the simple route. It's always available. So apps created in Tiggzi can run on the desktop, or they just run in the browser, right? So it's not.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is a mobile app builder, so obviously the target are running on the phone. I'm running this right here. What I showed you is just a tester, and the phone is just a phone frame, just to kind of show you where the phone is. So really, we're targeting mobile browsers and mobile devices.
But if you really felt like it, if it were just a mobile web app type, you could just browse it on your desktop.
So of course, yeah. I mean, this is just just a web app at the end. So yeah, any browser anywhere, you'll be able to run this app.
Okay. Now working through, if someone wants to build, here's someone who's talking about what about building apps for him? Do we have a list of developers or whatever? Basically, we're in that business. So our philosophy with Tiggzi is we want to give you the tools to do as much as you can on your own, but it's all based on our own expertise, helping other people develop mobile projects. And so we'd be more than happy to talk to anyone about any kind of work. And also, we do hybrid jobs too. If you want to do part of it and we do the other part, that's fine too. So basically, we're completely flexible about any kind of consulting or custom development that you want to do. At the same time, we really keep focusing on trying to make Tiggzi as easy to use as possible for people. So just contact us at sales@exadel.com. That's probably the easiest route to take. Or just contact Max, who has his screen up there. He'll make sure it gets to the right person. Here's the question about, do we have a library of trusted REST API providers on Tiggzi site itself now? Didn't we add that, or is that
Tiggzi, it's a good, I've been planning to add that. So I'm going to actually create a page in the help site that will list various APIs that we have used. But also sort of, in the very near future, we're actually going to be adding components inside Tiggzi, which you'll be able to select. Say you want to use, this service, and just pick a component.
Prepackaged.
Prepackaged, exactly. But as for list, again, I'll post something on the help site, or you can also just email me directly, and I will send you some links. Again, there are a number of sites on the internet, aggregator-like sites, which show they get various APIs from various sources and kind of shown on their site.
Okay. And obviously, SoundCloud is on our list of approved APIs.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a question about this is a question I don't quite get the context from. Here's a question about invoking a REST service that requires authentication. So we have a setup for that. The context?
Yes, we do. But as I mentioned, there was, I guess, another question is that we do have a security context, but in about 2 weeks, it's going to be updated. So we're going to support every possible authentication out there.
Okay. Here's a question specific. What was when you were doing the opening a window on the mobile device? Well, here, I'll come back to that. Okay. Here's a question about interconnect. You did a single screen app, right?
Yes.
So you want to talk briefly about how you would connect different screens to the app?
Sure. I guess I can maybe even do it here. So let me go. So I got this page with just a map, right? This will do. So this is the first page. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place a button, all right, and I'm going to attach navigation to this. So we're going to add a click event, and then very simple, we just add a navigate to page action, and then we select the second page, click OK, and then we're going to test. So just as simple as that. Click the button, and we go to the second page. All right?
Okay. So there are a whole slew of things.
Yeah, I mean, it's extremely simple.
It's navigation, yeah. Oh, here's a question about we're doing read through for REST services, but what about updates? Do we
yeah, also very easy to do. So post, here's if I open back the service, so you can do everything that REST allows you to do. So we're not limited to a get. You can do a post, and so yeah.
Okay. Here's a question about the export options. This is a specific. If you want to export something that you've developed in Tiggzi for use with PhoneGap phone development environment, what do you have anything to?
Yeah. So
anything special to say about that?
Yeah, so for example, if you would like to build, so again, Android is right here. There is Android. You can. This file is ready for the apps market. iOS, again, you will see a binary again very soon. But for now, if you can export this, you can download export project, and then take it to PhoneGap Build. That's the cloud service which will build for various platforms: Android, iOS. It will do BlackBerry, and I think one or two other platforms. Yeah, you can easily do that. So you save the file, upload it to PhoneGap Build, click a button, and you got the app ready.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it works, and it's very easy.
And one question is about the kind of examples we're using. I mean, from our point of view, we want to be able to fit it into an hour time frame and appeal to a lot of different people. But are there some examples of sample apps that are more complicated, even more complicated than this, or
we have
is there one that's a super complicated one that we have that we?
Super one. I mean, I guess it's all relative. What's super complicated? We have some examples in our showcase. And we're actually in the process of building a mobile delivery app, where you're sort of a delivery person for really anything, and you get a list of orders or deliveries for today. You go deliver. The person actually can sign their name. Then it connects to a backend, updates everything. Then you see your next delivery. You get the address. It shows you a map. You drive there. We're actually working on that app.
That's what I call real world.
Yes, real world. Yeah. So it's again a couple of weeks we should have it.
Yeah. Okay. So we would have that as the super complicated one. Sometimes the complicated ones aren't showcase a particular part.
Yeah. I mean we have obviously a lot of users. I mean not everyone they just build their apps. I mean they don't tell us about their apps. I mean we don't look at their apps. So, but as Charlie said, I mean in this context, obviously, there is only so much time we have.
Okay, here's a question for you to deal with. You can't. What about incorporating Flash as part of an app? Is that
no. This is. I mean, Flash in general, Adobe is not going to support Flash on mobile devices. So it's future. I mean, there is no future.
Okay.
It doesn't have future on mobile devices. Again, and this is coming from Adobe, not from me.
Okay. And what about supporting different? How do you support different artifacts that are part of a project, like graphic files and things like that?
So you can upload. Images. That's for sure. So that's what you can do. I mean, you can use JavaScript. You can upload JavaScript. Use JavaScript.
Okay.
So as for custom CSS, again, you do it via the theme editor.
Oh, okay, and that's a good thing to bring up because there's another question about where is the theme editor when you're going into Tiggzi?
So project, and then there is a theme, right? So these are the default, and then you can create a new one. So theme. Yeah, everything is done via the create new menu, and then theme.
So you don't right-click on the theme folder. You click on create new and then select.
Yeah, and then so this is the theme, and you can update and apply it.
Okay. And here's a question about when you get a lot of data from the REST response, how do you paginate the responses? I think I've seen that before. But
yeah, well, that's, you basically need to tell the service not to send you, for example, that much data. So you only record, 10 through 20. But if you do get a lot of data on the client, you can use JavaScript and you can write something to actually just show, results 10 through 20 and then 30, 20 through 30.
Oh, okay. So that would be a good example thing to add to our showcase.
Yeah. Yeah, but there are some REST services that actually support where you can specify only one this amount of information.
All right, and here's a question. I think you may have answered this already about the process for putting apps into the store itself. I mean, with Android,
yeah, Android. We actually have we have a webinar that we did back in November, I believe.
Oh yeah.
That shows how you get an app. We're building a Recess mobile app from here into Android in under 40 minutes.
And it actually showed up on the Android marketplace.
And it's
so
amazing.
Weird.
You guys can go, if you go to the Tiggzi blog and search for Android, you'll be able to see it there. But you build an app, and then push it to Android. It's, under 30 minutes, 35 minutes. You can, from building the app to the end, under 30 minutes.
Okay, and then here's a question about, we did demonstrate the native device capability because you played the song with your Android system.
Well, that was the browser, but for the device, this is here. I won't be able to actually test any of these because these are device, and I'm testing in the browser.
Oh, okay.
So that's why we have the tester app, which you install on your device, and you can test from there.
All right. I think it's about time to wrap up. We have a few questions left, but everyone will. We actually, as part of saving the whole webinar, we get all the questions. So we'll try and answer those questions directly with the people involved. And once again, the webinar is going to be available as a recording probably in a few hours, but there'll be a reminder email that will go out that will explain to everybody how to access it. Basically, you just go right back in using the registration link, the same one you used to get in here. And the next webinar we're going to have is January 31st, and it should be covering an issue about it'll be covering the Tiggzi, probably the Tiggzi for musicians, but you'll be hearing more about it when it comes up. So I'd like to thank everybody for attending this. We really appreciate people's time, taking time out of their day to hear about Tiggzi, and we really like telling people about Tiggzi. So I'm going to shut things down now.